Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Update number 3 with the rebuild of the Ford Mustang. Engine and gearbox is back in, but I brought you over here to show you why the car was sliding into top gear and not changing in an enthusiastic manner. Here is one of the here's one of the clutch plates that goes inside the gearbox. As you can probably see, it's covered with the material. That's how it should be. This, unfortunately, is one of the ones I took out. The material is all worn away. You can see, hopefully you can see the scratch marks. And it presses against one of these, and it transferred the scratching marks. And it must have got very hot, because if one turns it sideways, you can maybe see it's distorted. It's slightly cone shaped. Anyway, we put new ones in, so I think that'll all be fine. I bought a multi-kit, and my goodness, it does all and sundry, so I've got a considerable amount of new parts left over, because of course my gearbox is quite a simple one and the more complicated ones take more parts. So anyway, lots and lots of leftovers. Right, let's go across to the car and update you on the engine. Now, where do we start? Yes, roller cam. Roller cam is in, and all that went in very well. But because the lifters are different, they have to be held in place by these little things that look like double-ended tuning forks. And they have to be held in place by this girdle, which is made of a springy metal, so it keeps a constant pressure on them. First thing I don't like is you have to drill and tap the block and use two bolts to hold everything down. Well, you've got to be very careful, because the point at which you have to drill, you are vertically above the cam bearings mounted in the block. So if you drill too deeply, you'll go straight through into your cam, and that would not be a good idea. Anyway, that's all in. Now, regarding these heads, special as they are, there are quite a few problems. First, as you can see, the gaskets they give you are rather large. They would have been far better off to not cut the entry points for the manifolds, or maybe make a small hole, and then you could cut them with a Stanley knife to get them exactly right. But as they are going to do nothing for airflow. Not a problem for me. I'm not after a high performance motor, not high performance revving anyway. So it won't be a problem. Similarly, these spacer plates, although they are beautifully made and very heavy, they are also not accurately aligned. You can see there, if I move along to the end one, you can see there. Now, if I was after a high revving motor, I'd be getting a small Dremel type grinder and gas flowing those as best as possible. And of course these, because they're just as bad, these gaskets. Anyway, as I say, I'm not after a high revver, so it's no problem to me, but just to let you know, certain things like that are problems. Next, these heads are bigger, and therefore you cannot use the original bolts. You have to use these studs. And because they're studs, they screw in with an Allen key system. Not a problem, but you do have to make sure the threads into the block are very, very clean. You've got to clean them out to make sure everything's hunky-dory. So you can see them here, different places, all 10 of them. And those ones for the exhaust are actually longer than those which are towards the centre of the engine. Here we're starting to put on the rockers, the roller rockers, and check them out. I'm also at the moment not totally happy with those, because although the push rod's the correct length and everything else is jolly fine, I'm only getting 6 threads on the mounting bolt there. So I'm going to check into that and see if there's some form of adjustment I can do. Anyway, we'll overcome it. The other problem is, which is sort of self-created, the exhaust manifolds are going to touch the steering box down there. Reason for that is, of course, this is the larger engine from the Lincoln, but I can drop the engine about ½ an inch. Hold on, let's see if we can move around and show you. hold on, need a light. Hold on, we need a light. Here we are. I'll drop the camera down and you'll be able to follow my finger, and you will see that the engine mounting has considerable amounts of metal. Have a look. In fact, although I only need about half an inch, you could actually remove about an inch of metal there and drop the engine an inch. But in order to get my exhaust clearances the way I want them, probably slightly under half an inch, and we'll be back to where we need to be. Well, there we are. Everybody's on holiday and having a good time and sunbathing. I, of course, am in the garage covered in muck as normal. Okay, catch you next time.